3 months ago, I stood outside a hotel in the pouring rain, staring at a piece of concrete that was legally supposed to protect my dignity. Instead, it almost put me in the hospital. This envelope, a certified letter to the hotel's corporate headquarters, represents the start of a long, frustrating, but ultimately necessary fight. Today, I'm going to tell you the full story of how a major hotel chain tried to gaslight me about their accessibility, why I ended up hiring a federal civil rights lawyer, and exactly what happened when the legal papers were served. This isn't just my story, it's a cautionary tale for any business that thinks accessibility is optional, and a guide for anyone who's ever been told we're compliant, when the reality is dangerously different. It all started with a simple phone call, a step I have to take before booking any trip. I had the hotel's website open, their booking confirmation ready to go. I just needed one final confirmation. I called the front desk directly to be absolutely certain. My question was direct and unambiguous. I'm a wheelchair user. Is your hotel entrance, from the parking lot to the lobby, completely step-free and accessible? The person on the other end was cheerful and reassuring. Absolutely, they said. We are fully ADA compliant. You'll have no problems at all. With that assurance, I booked the room, feeling confident. That confidence, however, was about to be shattered. When I arrived, the sky had opened up. The valet stood under a grand portico, but the entrance itself was blocked by 3 massive, gleaming marble steps. My heart sank. At the front desk, I explained that I had called ahead. The clerk, looking flustered, told me the wheelchair entrance was around back. So I navigated my chair back out into the downpour, around the side of the building, past the service corridors and the humming HVAC units. And this is what I found. Not an entrance, but an obstacle. A rain-slicked, dangerously steep concrete launch pad. I later measured it with a digital inclinometer. 28 degrees. For context, a legal accessible ramp is about 4.8 degrees. This was nearly 6 times the legal limit. And to make matters worse, a large, overflowing dumpster was parked squarely at the top, completely blocking the landing. For a moment, I considered it. I was soaked, exhausted, and just wanted to get inside. I backed up and tried to get a running start. My front wheels hit the base of the ramp, and my power chair whined in protest. The tires spun, slick with rain, finding no purchase on the smooth, wet concrete. The entire chair skewed sideways, and I felt that terrifying, stomach-dropping sensation of the chair beginning to tip backwards. I threw my weight forward, jamming the controls to reverse, and barely managed to get back on level ground, my heart pounding in my chest. That was the moment the frustration turned into cold, hard resolve. This wasn't an inconvenience. This was a threat. They hadn't just failed to provide access. They had created a hazard and then lied about it. And I knew I couldn't just let it go. When I told the front desk manager that this ramp was dangerous and physically impossible to climb without flipping backward, he looked me in the eye and said, "Well, other people manage just fine. We've never had a complaint before." It's a classic line, designed to make you question your own reality. He then pointed to a sign on the desk. "If you can't use the facilities, we can cancel your reservation, but you'll still be charged a cancellation fee as per our 24-hour policy." It was textbook gaslighting. I was being told that a clear, physical barrier wasn't real, and that I was the problem. The solution offered was to penalize me financially for their failure to provide the safe, accessible environment they advertised. That was the exact moment I realized talking wasn't going to work. My frustration turned into resolve. They were counting on me to be too tired or intimidated to fight back. They were wrong. It was time to stop talking about their policies and start talking about the law. Let's talk about the 112 rule. The law is clear. Federal civil rights law, specifically the Americans with Disabilities Act, states that for every 1 inch of vertical rise, a ramp must have at least 12 inches, 1 foot, of ramp length. This isn't an arbitrary number, it's based on physics. This ratio keeps the slope at or below a manageable 4.8 degrees, which is the maximum angle most manual wheelchair users can safely navigate without assistance. It prevents you from tipping backward on the way up or losing control and accelerating dangerously on the way down. This hotel's ramp was essentially a concrete wall closer to a 1.6 slope, nearly 10 degrees of incline. It wasn't an accommodation, it was a liability masquerading as a solution. Under Title III of the ADA, which covers public accommodations like hotels, providing access isn't optional. And businesses often try to hide behind a few common, legally baseless excuses. They'll say the building is grandfathered in, but the ADA has no such clause for public accommodations. They'll claim it's an undue burden to fix, a standard that is incredibly high and difficult to prove for a national hotel chain. Or my personal favorite, no one else has complained, which is legally irrelevant. Your civil rights aren't contingent on a popular vote. Faced with their refusal and armed with the facts, I knew my next conversation wouldn't be with a hotel manager. It would be with an attorney. After being dismissed and gaslit, I knew that simply complaining wasn't enough. This wasn't about getting an apology or a free night's stay. It was about a dangerous, illegal barrier that would affect every future guest with a mobility issue. I didn't want a payout. I wanted the ramp fixed. So, I decided to take formal action. The first step was finding the right legal expert. I specifically searched for a local civil rights attorney who specialized in ADA compliance. This is critical. You need someone who lives and breathes this specific area of federal law, not a general practitioner. After reviewing a few firms and their case histories, I found the perfect advocate. During our initial consultation, I laid out all my evidence, the time-stamped photos, the video, my notes from the calls, and the digital slope readings. My attorney confirmed what I already knew. This was a clear-cut violation of Title III of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Before filing a lawsuit, the standard first step is to send a demand letter. My attorney drafted a formal letter to the hotel's corporate headquarters. It detailed the specific violations, cited the sections of the ADA they were breaking, presented our initial evidence, and demanded that they present a plan to demolish and rebuild the ramp to full compliance within a set time frame. This gives the business a final chance to do the right thing before facing federal court. Their response? Silence. So we moved to the next stage. We filed a formal Title III lawsuit. This is where a lot of misconceptions come into play. Many people think these lawsuits are get-rich-quick schemes, but let's bust that myth right now. Under Title III of the ADA, an individual plaintiff in federal court cannot recover monetary damages for the discrimination they experienced. The entire point of the lawsuit is to obtain what's called injunctive relief, a court order forcing the business to remove the illegal barrier. You are literally suing just to force them to fix the problem. The law does, however, allow you to recover your legal fees if you win, ensuring that the cost of enforcing your civil rights doesn't fall on you. Once the lawsuit was served, the hotel chain's corporate lawyers finally took notice. Their initial tone was dismissive, but that attitude changed instantly when we presented our full evidence package. We had the photographic proof showing the hazardous conditions. We had the digital slope readings, which are objective, scientific data, proving the ramp's angle was more than double the legal limit. And the final piece, we had commissioned a formal engineering report from a licensed professional who analyzed the structure and certified it as non-compliant and dangerous. Faced with an ironclad case, their legal posturing crumbled. They knew that going to trial would be a guaranteed loss, a public relations nightmare, and far more expensive than simply settling. The negotiation was swift. They settled within 60 days of us filing the lawsuit. The settlement wasn't a check for me, it was a legally binding contract. They were forced to completely demolish the illegal back entrance and pour a new, fully compliant 112 slope ramp, complete with proper landings and handrails on both sides. And, as stipulated by the law, they had to pay every single cent of my attorney's fees. It's important to note that this was my experience under federal law. Some state laws, like in California or Florida, do allow for monetary damages, so the specifics can vary by location. But for me, the victory wasn't financial. It was seeing that new ramp and knowing that the next person who needs it will be safe. I shouldn't have to hire a legal team to get into a building in the 21st century. But if businesses refuse to understand compassion, they will understand litigation. Don't let businesses tell you it's close enough. Stand your ground. If you want to see more corporate accountability, make sure to like and follow.